Hello and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Tyler Reid. I'm the Manufacturing Application Manager here at GoEngineer. And today I get to talk about one of the most fun and enjoyable tools that we have added to our lab here in GoEngineer headquarters, and that is our Tormach mill. So here at GoEngineer, we have sold and supported CAMWorks for nearly 20 years. We literally have thousands of customers using CAMWorks and now today SOLIDWORKS CAM. And throughout those years, something that I have always requested and wanted was the ability to use the software in-house. I felt like it would be a great way for us to hone our skills with the software, a great way for us to demonstrate the software, and also I felt like it would help us become, better trainers and better users ourselves of the software and be able to better support our customers. It hasn't been easy, and there's a big reason for that. It can be difficult to bring CNC equipment into an office environment, and that's what we have here in our office in Salt Lake City and essentially all of our offices throughout the Western US. As the years have gone by, we have added more tools that complement CNC and subtractive manufacturing, namely additive manufacturing in both plastics and metals now. We are the global leaders in reselling and supporting additive equipment under the Stratasys banner, Nano Dimension banner now, and Desktop Metal, with some more metal technologies coming later this year. Also, with SOLIDWORKS bringing SOLIDWORKS CAM into their portfolio, it's really broadened our base for CAM users. We have more seats of SOLIDWORKS out there than just about anybody worldwide, and all of those SOLIDWORKS users now have access to CAM tools. So, with all of that being said, it really started to beg the question is, why don't we have CNC in-house? It complements so many of our other tools, and it would really let us explore CAMWorks and SOLIDWORKS CAM. And there became a point last year that we really couldn't answer why we didn't. So that set off the search for bringing CNC equipment into our office environment. Bringing it into an office where we have salespeople on the phone, we have support people on the phone all day, every day, and not really having a building set up to support industrial equipment really complicated our search. And I know a lot of our customers out there face this same conundrum. You guys are in high rises, you're in office buildings, but you still have labs, you still have a need to prototype and create plastic and metal components that are very precise and maybe low quantities, high quantities. CNC is the right job for you, but there isn't an obvious choice when you start looking at the more conventional machine tools. So our technical requirements were, we need a machine that's run from G-code. It's not going to help us work with CAMWorks or SOLIDWORKS CAM if the machine is running off conversational or no code at all. We also needed a machine that could handle a wide variety of metals. We are generating a lot of plastic parts, but as time goes on and as Desktop Metal and other metal additive technologies enter our portfolio, we're anticipating creating a lot of stainless steel parts, Inconel parts, tool steel parts, and some aluminum parts too, but some hard materials, and we need to be able to machine those to size. The machine that we're going to be using to machine those needs to be as accurate or more accurate than our 3D printers. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. And it has to have a working envelope kind of similar to our 3D printers. So those are the sort of the technical requirements. As I said, we're in an office building, so we have some facility requirements too. We had a serious weight limit that we couldn't go over. Our lab in Salt Lake City, if you visited it, it's over top of a parking structure. So it's essentially like we're on not the ground level, but second, third, fourth story of a typical office building. We also have a height limit. Our ceilings are only so high and our doorways are only so high. And lastly, the machine has to be fully enclosed. We have a lab dedicated to additive equipment, and we have a lot of customers coming in and out. We have salespeople coming in and out and just on the other sides of these walls. So in order for the machine to be safe and in order for the environment to be kept clean and in order to keep the sound down, we had to have a fully enclosed machine. Now, I will say I searched for a machine that fits all of these requirements for weeks and weeks, probably months really. And there were a few options. We had the Sales and Element and Novacon. And to be honest, it was really hard to find a vendor that could ship a machine within a couple weeks and that fit all of these requirements. It was very difficult. The most obvious option was Tormach. Tormach is a name that a lot of our customers are aware of. I've gone to prototyping labs in California and Seattle and Texas, and I've seen Tormach machines in these labs, so I was aware of them. And Tormach is a name that's been around in the hobbyist community for several years now. They've built a business around offering machine tools that kind of bridge the gap between hobbyist level machines and professional level machines, both in capabilities and price points. They have a variety of milling machines, they have some lathes, they have grinding machines, and they have a few more machines in their arsenal and coming up. Like I said, many of our partners are happy Tormach customers, and I've seen that. I've talked to Tormach users, and throughout this process, I've grown to know the Tormach employees personally, and by every account, people have been happy with it, the Tormach experience in terms of working with the people over there. And so when it came down to it, this really was the right choice for us as far as a company goes. And then it became a question of what machine are we going to get? And this is the fun part. We've identified a vendor that could ship a machine within 2 or 3 weeks. We knew that they could support it. It's a US-based company. And so we felt pretty good about that. Now, I know users of every one of these machines. When we started looking at these machines, mid 2018, the M series had just been released. I know SolidWorks Corporate has a PCNC 440, the smaller end machine, and they're very happy with that. We were looking at either the 770M or the 1100M. We like the M series, a little bit newer machine and a little bit more capable in terms of horsepower and build envelope. We also kind of entertained the idea of getting a lathe, but we wanted to stick with one machine first, and the mill machine with some accessories was the right way to go. Our thinking is that if we could prove out this idea in Salt Lake City, then we can expand these machines to our other offices that are outfitted with 3D printers. We ultimately decided on the 770M. It was the best compromise between size and capability. We went through and discussed our needs with Chris Fox over at Tormach, and we went back and forth. And I have to say, Chris is an awesome guy. He walked us through the process and did a great job of setting us up exactly with a machine that we could use in our lab. It arrived, kind of August of last year, and we set forth to putting it together. If there was anything negative I had to say about Tormach, it's the fact that we had to put the machine together. As a business user, I would have loved the option, even if it costs a little bit more money, to have the machine shipped, fully assembled, or have somebody come assemble it. That's my only gripe. If Tormach could figure that out, I think business to business, transactions would be a little bit more smooth, and we get up and running a little bit faster. That being said, it wasn't a huge deal. We put the machine together over the course of a couple weeks because it's not really our primary job duty. And we got it tuned in and working really well now. So there it is in our lab. let's talk a little bit about the specs and why it worked for us. You can see the XYZ travel, 14 inches, 7.5, 13 inches. It's a little tight on the Y travel, but for our purposes, that was totally fine. Honestly, I thought it was going to be more of a restriction than it actually is. We haven't run up against it yet. And there are definitely strategies to work around that in terms of multiple operations. And SOLIDWORKS CAM is set up in a way to make multiple operations and flipping the part or moving the part a breeze. The 1.5 horsepower, 10,000 RPM spindle, this was a big reason why we chose this. The higher RPM spindle was attractive for us in terms of using it for plastics and some aluminums and the metals that we want. We haven't seen an issue with the rapids. We do have the M version with the stepper motors, and for our purposes, those have been completely fine. In terms of bringing this into an office environment, the fact that it runs off a standard 120 volt, 15 amp breaker was a big deal for us. It meant that we didn't have to spend any extra money hiring an electrician to come in and rerun wires. It weighs about 1,000 pounds and it's less than 8 feet tall, which means we were able to get it in through the door, no problem. This was another huge benefit. We couldn't have gotten a bigger machine even if we wanted it. There's a huge debate. Should I get a Tormach? Should I get a used Haas? For a lot of people, that's not a realistic comparison. And a big reason is size. Most customers who are in an office building that are running a prototyping lab or some sort of internal lab really can't bring a Haas in. And based on our experiences over the last few months, I felt like we're not missing out by not having a Haas. With the, outfitted with a tool changer and not really being focused on cycle time, this machine has done everything we would want at a fraction of the cost and actually being able to fit. When you look at the actual machine components, they're good components. Starting with the base, it's a cast iron frame, hand scraped ways. It even has, a coating similar to Turkite. The motors are high quality motors. The actual base, the welded base, and the sheet metal enclosure all work pretty well. And the Path Pilot control that's custom built by Tormach has been awesome to use. So as I mentioned, I talked to Chris Fox over there and told him this is what we want to do with the machine. This is what we're trying to get out of it. And he set us up with all of the accessories you could want, fully loaded out, 10 tool, automatic tool changer. As for us here at GoEngineer, where machining parts is not our primary job duty, the ability for us to start a program and let it run, doing tool changes when we need to, and not having to be at the machine during the entire cycle time has been huge for us. Having a fourth axis has been awesome. We've experimented with it here and there, using SOLIDWORKS CAM Professional to do some indexing and stepping up to CAMWorks to do some simultaneous 4-axis cuts. We've developed some content around that, and we're excited to release that pretty soon. Tormach has a pretty cool coolant system called Smart Cool that is smart, obviously, and it points the coolant at the tip of the tool. We take advantage of that here, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that when we talk about the post processor. We also have the rapid turn lathe attachment, which is essentially a chucker lathe that's you take on and off the machine table, and it allows your machine to play double duty as a mill machine and also a lathe. We have experimented with this a little bit, but we definitely need some more time. Our post processor works with this, and SOLIDWORKS CAM Professional will work with this completely. We have the touch probe that's going to improve our efficiency, and we also have the fixture plate from Saunders Machine Works, which has been really cool too. Let's talk a little bit about the Path Pilot post processor. We at GoEngineer, we supply the official SOLIDWORKS CAM post processor for Tormach. You can download it straight from tormach.com. This post processor is a single download, and it provides capabilities for all of their mills and also the Slant Pro and Rapid Turn. It's completely configurable to your machine. So whether you ordered a machine with or without the tool changer, if you have the Smart Cool or not, if you have the 4th axis or Rapid Turn, our post processor can be configured to support all of those. Now, when you go to Tormach's website, you're going to land at a page that looks like this. This is their post processors. And if you scroll down over here, you see GoEngineer for SOLIDWORKS CAM over here on the right-hand side. And when you select download, it's going to direct you to GoEngineer's website. So if you're looking for the Tormach post, you're going to select free download. And that will take us to our share file site, and it's going to download a zip file. So as of right now, you don't have to input any info. I can't promise it will always be like that. Eventually, we'll probably ask your name and where you're from, because that's going to help us better support you with our post processor. You're going to end up with a zip file that has about a dozen files. And these are all of the files that you would need to run SOLIDWORKS CAM or CAMWorks on any of the Tormach products, whether it's PathPilot on the mill or PathPilot on the Slant Pro. We have it for you. Now, there are a couple PDFs that I want to talk about. One is the PDF with the NC 01981B. That's the version of our post. And it's going to walk you through using and configuring our post processor. So it explains that it can be used for a rotary axis and Smart Cool. It goes through a couple requirements that we need you to do in SOLIDWORKS CAM, creating a coordinate system if you're using the 4th axis. It talks a little bit about the parameters in the posting tab. Let's poke around a little bit more and open this _S RTF file. And in this file, you're going to see that this little area, it says, within the text file.cnf, you can edit that to start configuring the file. So let's go open the CNF file. You may need to show file extensions to open this file. And this is where we're going to be able to configure. We can configure the decimal places on the left and the right of your G codes. We're going to be able to configure whether or not the post processor will do subroutines in assembly mode. The tool change position is going to be set in the next area here. By changing this from 0 to 1 to 2, you're going to get a you're going to get a different tool change position. This is your oscillation configuration, whether or not you're using the Smart Cool to oscillate. And then the aim offset. So go through, once you download this, configure that CNF file how you would like, and place all of these files in your SOLIDWORKS CAM or CAMWorks post-processor directory. Once you load in your post-processor, I want to show you a couple things. So you would select, under post-processor, you would select your Tormach PathPilot post-processor. Here you see some parameters. Under the posting tab, you have the ability to set a program name, a part number, revision, and your stock size. And then just like any other post processor, in the operations, you'll have some information available under the posting tab. So under the posting tab, this is where you would set per operation. Are you posting in absolute or incremental? Are you using coolant? Yes, no. If you are, and you are using the Smart Cool, where do you want to aim the Smart Cool? To Z0 or the tool tip, and then you can add an offset from that reference point. And if you're going to use the oscillation, how much do you want the Smart Cool to oscillate up and down? Now, one of the other PDFs that's in that download is a post-processor change request. Now, we are offering the Tormach post-processor as is, free of charge. If you feel like there is something that should be changed and it should be changed for everybody, let us know. Just shoot us an email at support@goengineer.com and we'll take a look at that and happy to change it if it should be changed for everybody. If you want customizations to the post processor individually, if you want to add some logic to it or for whatever reason you want it custom, we're happy to do that as a service, just like any other post processor. So we're super happy to be the official provider of the SOLIDWORKS CAM post processor for Tormach. Head to tormach.com to download that. So what have we been using the machine for? A lot of stuff. Like I said, we're really using it in partnership with our additive tools. And this image right here is a great example of that in action. It is a metal 3D printed part. We printed this door handle off our Desktop Metal Studio system. It's printed in 17.4 stainless steel. Fixturing a part like this can be difficult, and that's where our plastic printers from Stratasys come into play. In this particular case, we used a Stratasys F370 to print soft jaws out of ABS plastic. And then we go through and we program this part in CAMWorks because it is a full 3-axis movement. So we use CAMWorks to program just the finishing of this model and bringing it into tolerance for the critical dimensions. Couldn't be happier with how the Tormach worked on a project like this. One of the unique things that we've noticed as we are post-processing some of these metal additive parts is that if it's a larger part, we may need to zero in multiple places. And we have some content coming up pretty soon that's going to show you how to do that in both SOLIDWORKS CAM and CAMWorks. Those CAM tools are very capable, and they allow us to take full advantage of the Tormach as well as just about any other machine tool out there. Haas, Ukuma, Mazak, any machine tool out there, we can write you a post processor and get you working very quickly on those tools. So there's a short little clip, and this is the end result of that part. So when we have this part and we show it to people here in the office and we tell them it's a 3D printed part, they're pretty amazed because once you machine off the layering that's evident in this style of metal additive, you get a solid part. You wouldn't be able to really tell if it was machined from billet or an additive part, and the mechanical properties are going to be similar as well. It's not evident here, but the advantage of having soft jaws that were easily printed really sped up the process of creating this part. We were able to design our soft jaws in a very intuitive way. We didn't have to worry about cutting soft jaws. And to take that one step further, we could cut into the soft jaws. So we didn't have to really design our soft jaws around where the tool is going to be to finish this part. There's no problem in cutting into the soft jaws just in the process of finishing this part. So we're really excited to come up with some more content that brings metal additive and plastic additive together in conjunction with CNC milling and turning on our Tormach. So this has been a great tool for us. We're super happy to have it. And I know that we are joining the ranks of happy Tormach users out there amongst our customer base. And we'd love to have more people using SOLIDWORKS CAM and CAMWorks alongside their Tormach machines. And so we're doing our part by offering that post processor. I'd love for you guys to download that, take a look at it, and enjoy those Tormachs when you get them. Thanks for joining, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good day.